Here is the recommendation, and this is not to say Ronan's family did not do this, but you must take it up the chain and you must write a written complaint to the school district. If they don't handle it, go up to the school board, that'd be here in the county, and then the state. Investigators do believe they have found the mother of those two babies. The next question is whether they were alive or dead when they were born. Unfortunately, not all the neighbors getting to all the storm drains. Take a look at this one. You can see it's still completely covered. You can't even tell really. It is a drain. But I want to show you just how close that gun range, an indoor gun range, very important to note here, is to the school campus. This is the end of Carver High School's campus at that black gate. Across this dirt lot, that gray building over there, that will be that indoor gun range. We just had a neighbor come up to us and provide us with a video. The video is not that great, but the audio is pretty telling. Take a listen to it. Those are tires squealing, and we are told that is racing coming from this local parking garage. The flames really intense. This is a gigantic fire. All of that smoke and all of that ash coming into our eyes, my photographer's eyes, all of the crews out here at this point. The good news is that it appears no other structures will be damaged in this fire, and it has been contained. They found a lot of guns, including this, which was loaded. Around 3 children who were taken into protective custody. We are here at the Arden and Del Paso light rail station. This incident happening last week. This was the third stop that light rail train went through, completely unmanned. Eventually, the train would become disabled, losing power in this intersection, but not before going more than a mile without a driver. It was just a couple of hours ago the suspect was brought in here to the Elk Grove Police Department. He is being questioned, but investigators have little doubt they have the right guy. They say they are doing everything they can to make sure that possible measles patients stay away from other non-measles patients. In fact, take a look at this sign. This was put up when there was so much fear over the Ebola virus that's pretty much relevant now, except add on to it a rash. Well, this one is really a mystery. Yolo County investigators can't tell us why that missing mother would turn up alive, but who is suspected to be her baby would turn up dead. And that infant was found just off of this slough here near Knight's Landing in some thick brush. The question for everyone now is what happened to Justice?
We'll get to that in a minute, but you have a lot to follow up on. A 12-year-old boy here.
Yeah, it's a very sad story, and we have had hundreds of people reaching out to us on Facebook and other social media, just overwhelmed by how tragic this case is. One bully expert tells us that things have gotten better, but they're not there yet. Just 12 years old, Ronan Shimizu was said to have been the only boy on the Folsom Vista Junior Eagles cheer team. And while he loved to cheer,
since he was on the cheer team, people would make fun of him.
Ronan, who recently left Folsom Middle School to be homeschooled, committed suicide this week. Friends suspect bullying.
Despite a lot of action from state lawmakers and school districts, bullying continues.
Tom Orrock is a licensed therapist and helps children being bullied. We wanted to know, with so much attention being given to the problem of bullying, why does it continue?
The problem is with intervention. You know, everybody can have a policy up on the shelf, but what is going to be done if somebody is chronically bullying somebody?
Orrock says he has noticed school leaders across the area have been slow to react to complaints, and social media makes it harder to witness.
I think stricter penalties would be a good idea if it's found that there wasn't enough done here.
Today, Folsom Cordova School District told us previous complaints by Ronan's parents were handled properly, but they were reviewing the situation. They would not tell us how the complaints were handled.
It wasn't a place I called, enjoyable.
Today, this video surfaced on YouTube. A teenager, Ernesto Martinez, paying homage to Ronan and claiming he was bullied during his time at Folsom Middle.
I talked to my principal multiple times. I talked to the administration. My parents came in almost, at least once a month to talk to them about what was going on, and the worst part is the administration didn't do anything.
While the district reviews its actions, many also wanted to know if the bullies themselves could be charged.
There's no crime for bullying in the state of California. To be a crime, you really have to either be committing violence or potentially a threat of violence.
Attorney Kevin Adamson says while name-calling and the like is against education code, beyond that, it is likely free speech.
You could also potentially file a civil suit against the parents of somebody who's doing bullying. If the parents knew the bullying was going on and failed to do anything about it.
So here is the recommendation, and this is not to say Ronan's family did not do this, but you must take it up the chain and you must write a written complaint to the school district. If they don't handle it, go up to the school board, that'd be here in the county, and then the state.
But it sounds like from your piece, we're hearing from a kid who's on YouTube who said, I did these things, I went to this school, I had problems, they didn't do enough. We're hearing therapists say the very same thing. I mean, we've got a problem here. This is a 12-year-old boy. I mean, this isn't even an adult.
Yeah, well, this one is really a mystery. Yolo County investigators can't tell us why that missing mother would turn up alive, but who is suspected to be her baby would turn up dead. And that infant was found just off of this slough here near Knight's Landing in some thick brush. The question for everyone now is what happened to Justice? Family gathered to pray and grieve at the tragic end of a bizarre mystery. Yolo County search crews located a body believed to be 3-week-old Justice Rees in a thicket of brush. Even deputies becoming emotional.
Located the body of an infant.
He was only here for 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, and he never had a chance.
While family was left reeling, what led up to the baby's death is now the burning question. It was Monday. Justice and his mother, Samantha Green, were reported missing after not showing up at the Woodland home they share with family. Then last night, Samantha came stumbling out of this slough in nearby Knight's Landing. Neighbor Ricardo Villasenor heard her cries and called 911. What was she saying?
I just called 911. I was kidnapped, and that was all she told me. She says she spent the night out in the slough. She don't know where she is.
Ricardo says Samantha was badly bruised and disoriented.
She couldn't tell me anybody that did it, or she don't remember. All she told me, my baby's out there. It's dead. It froze to death.
Samantha was rushed to the hospital for treatment.
He was probably the sweetest baby I've ever taken care of.
Patty Rees is the baby's grandmother. She says her son, Frank Rees, Samantha, and the baby lived at her home. She believes Samantha was truly abducted.
I'm sure neither of them had any part of it. No. You could tell she fought off an attacker. So somewhere in the mix, the baby got left.
While investigators work slowly to get Samantha's story, we asked her dad about her mental state before disappearing.
It's just too much going on right now. I didn't want to get into that.
Regardless, everyone hoping for a little boy's name to become reality. Justice served.
It's like a dream I'm still trying to wake up from.
And tonight an autopsy is pending, both to confirm that baby is indeed Justice and to figure out how he died. Of course, investigators will also be continuing their conversation with Samantha Green.
Rain stopped, and he's getting answers for us tonight. Derek?
That's right, Sam, and we are here at the Arden and Del Paso light rail station. This incident happening last week. This was the third stop that light rail train went through, completely unmanned. Eventually, the train would become disabled, losing power in this intersection, but not before going more than a mile without a driver. It was thought to be just a huge headache, a disabled light rail train in the middle of the street blocking traffic, but this was no regular maintenance failure.
Pretty much like derailed off. I heard about that.
No, it wasn't nothing but God that no one got injured in the incident.
Riders who walk on these platforms can't believe no one was hurt or even killed. Light rail officials today confirming this train had no driver and no one on board. A runaway train at times barreling down the tracks in early rush hour traffic.
Obviously, leaving without a person on board is a very serious event for us and one that we take very seriously.
RT Chief Operating Officer Mark Lonergan says the train was being worked on by a maintenance technician at a facility a mile and a half from where it stopped.
Actually disabled some safety devices in error, stepped out of the car to check a device on the outside of the car.
That's when he says the train took off with no one on board, traveling through 3 guarded crossings and 3 light rail stations before losing power. Its top speed 43 miles per hour. When asked if they notified police after the train took off,
in the time frame that it took from beginning to end, it was over before we had much of an opportunity to notify anybody.
RT says the maintenance worker is on leave and the incident continues to be investigated.
That could have been tragic for the cars, people.
For riders, they are in shock.
Have better safety measures, for one, looking out, especially for customers who's walking across the tracks.
and you can see all of the traffic at this intersection at this hour, just about the same time this incident happened. The good thing is that all of the crossing guards did work. It's the only item pretty much on the light rail system that is automated. The rest has to be controlled by a driver. RT tells us this is the first time anything like this has happened in more than 28 years. Yeah, and we're at 14th at about S Street, and this is supposedly the epicenter of this stink bug infestation. They're normally found in trees like this one. In fact, there were a number before. Of course, they're a little camera shy, but we have found one right over here. You can see, and I'm not a bug expert, but I'm pretty sure this is one. Could even be dead, but they're very much alive and very much here in Midtown.
Saw some earlier. There are quite a few.
Chuck Ingalls is on a search.
There's one flying right there.
To show us one of the newest residents of Midtown Sacramento.
Here's one right here. No, that's a fly.
Hard to spot maybe, but they're here. The long-named brown marmorated stink bug.
Brown marmorated stink bug?
Never heard of it?
No.
He's right here.
We'd eventually find some after we smacked some trees.
And I do see him flying over there now.
According to Chuck, who's with the Sacramento Cooperative Extension, these brown critters have now infested this Midtown area.
This is the first time it's been in Sacramento County.
And they're unwelcomed. These particular stink bugs have until now only been seen in California down near LA. They are aggressive pests that eat fruits and veggies, but don't much like to bite humans. They likely hitched a ride here on someone's vehicle. And experts just aren't sure how many of these brown marmorated stink bugs are already in Sacramento. There could be hundreds, thousands, even millions.
It might take a few years before it really starts even reaching the farms, and then it needs to build up in population.
Which eventually will likely mean a new pest for growers in our area to deal with, already protecting their crops from other pests. In the meantime, it's homeowners.
It congregates in areas like under eaves, in garages, in houses. They are just a nuisance pest, and they stink.
The brown marmorated stink bug here in Sacramento. Just where they'll move and what kind of stink they'll make, we'll just have to wait and see.
There is no quick fix that we know of now.
And take a look. I, again, am not a bug specialist, but that appears, based on what I did online to look at Google images, that looks like some eggs of that stink bug. Now, you're asking, how do I get them out of my house? Because they can congregate and they're disgusting. Well, that expert tells us, get the Hoover, get the vacuum, and suck them up from the wall. Don't try to kill them and so on. They'll just fly everywhere, and that will be no fun. So make sure you suck them up and then take the bag out and toss it out.
Interesting.